A group of youngsters had went on an adventure to explore a scary and forbidden cave for a research moments. Later they noticed something strange. One of the girls felt scared and went out to call for help. On getting to the zenith of the mountain, she surprisingly discovered the earth has completely changed. She saw great rock formations and sandstorms brewing in the distance. She also discovered a spaceship is seen in the vicinity. The whole situation looked like 1,000 years has literally passed while they were inside the cave. The movie then took us back memory lane on how it all started. There was an archaeologist by the name Professor Hopper. He along with his dog are searching near the isolated system of caves when they saw an old van. It turns out Professor Hopper is searching for a group of bohemians that went missing 10 years ago and the van belonged to them. As the search continues, sensing something was strange, Hopper's dog starts barking. Hopper would then enter one of the caves and discovers a strange cowboy frozen in time. The man appears to be from a different era, which is evident from his clothes and gun type. Hopper was quite shocked and got back in his car and drives back home. Getting home he met two of his students, Taylor and Jackie, who were excited to start their new exploration trip. But to their dismay, Hopper tells them that the plan has changed, so he will be going alone now. Shortly after, he gathers all the necessary items and gets back to the cave. There he discovers a strange gulf that separates the atmosphere between the outside world and the cave. Although skeptical, Professor Hopper enters these gulf, and as soon as he does so, the formerly frozen man starts moving. In the next scene, it has been 2 days now since the students heard from Professor Hopper, so they decide to go look for him. But since they don't own a vehicle, Taylor asked for help from a lady known as Kara, who has a massive crush on him. Kara immediately agrees to bring her dad's Jeep, but on the condition they allow her and her little sister called Vives to join in on the search. To make matters worse, the students are compelled to take another kid named Furby with them on the adventure. They eventually reach the location where they stumble upon an abandoned minivan, just as Professor Hooper saw. Upon investigation, they make a surprising discovery that the bohemians the professor was formerly searching for turn out to be his missing parents. Story was decades ago. His parents had ventured into a network of caves in pursuit of the mythical Fountain of Youth, but sadly they never returned. During their exploration, the group stumbles upon an old worn-out rope, which leads them to a different section of the cave. Jackie summoned courage and decides to follow the rope via a narrow tunnel, but realizes that it has been cut off. As Jackie delves deeper into the cave, she suspects that this might be where the Professor Hopper got lost. Taylor expresses doubt that the rope could belong to Professor Hopper due to its age, but still, he decides to descend and inspect the cave. The girls agree to accompany him, while Furby, the young lad, who was too afraid of the dark, was told to watch over them on the outside. As they descend deeper and deeper into the cave, the scene then shifts to 2 days ago, when Professor Hopper had just entered the barrier. Slowly navigating through the cave, he heard a scream suddenly and a terrifying howl like a wolf from inside. Terrified, he rushed back to the entrance. There, he notices the sunlight flickering strangely. Upon emerging outside, he is surprised to find that it's already nighttime, despite only spending 2 minutes inside the cave. Moreover, he realizes that the surrounding area, which was once a desert, has transformed into a dense forest. Soon after, he stumbles upon Kara's rundown Jeep and Taylor's backpack, prompting him to venture back into the cave to search for them. Returning to the present, the group continues to explore the cave until they hear the same menacing and terrifying howl that Hopper encountered earlier. Fearing that something terrible was upon them, they were filled with apprehension. They opt to abandon their mission and head back home. Jackie takes the lead, but while climbing, the rope suddenly gets cut, causing her to fall from a significant height, in which she had her leg broken. Taylor then attempts to check the second rope and realizes it has also been cut. They conclude probably Furby has been playing some form of game on them. Taylor angrily tries to contact Furby via radio, but Furby wouldn't respond. Panicking, the group brainstormed ideas to escape the cave, when suddenly a loud thud echoes in the background, as if something has fallen from above. Frightened, Taylor once again attempts to communicate through the radio, and this time, a muffled voice replies saying help. To everyone's horror, they discover that the voice belongs to Furby. With no other options, the group decides to venture deeper into the tunnel until they reach a spot where the sky becomes visible, just as Hopper had previously witnessed. Now, the strange thing in this movie was, in fraction of seconds, the sun kept on flickering continuously, creating a day-to-night effect. Despite this, Taylor, the genius, suspects that Furby is playing another prank with his flashlight. Taylor dismisses the idea but is horrified when they soon found Furby dead with a broken neck and visible marks on his face. As expected, this incident devastated the group, and they start fearing that someone is likely after them. Their fear becomes certain when they discover Furby's cut-off rope. Luckily, the The group finds a working video camera belonging to the little boy Furby and decides to watch the video to understand what happened. Watching the video, Furby was seen waiting for the group's return for days, trying everything to contact them but receiving no response. Bored and desperate, he explores the nearby area and stumbles upon a 70s hippie minivan with a journal inside. They also soon discover that the journal or diary reveals that the cave holds a fountain of youth capable of healing and even bringing the dead back to life. Hopper's parents went into the cave seeking this miracle for his mom's rare cancer. Quite pathetic. As more days pass, they saw how Furby runs out of supplies and assumes his friends are dead. He plans to leave the cave but needs Taylor's Jeep keys. Determined, he climbs down into the cave to retrieve the keys. However, when he crosses a mysterious barrier, the sky changes rapidly, and before he can comprehend it, the rope cuts off, leading to a terrible fall. Upon hearing an echoing thud, the group experienced earlier, they ventured into the cave where the radio unexpectedly came to life. A wounded Furby, seeking assistance, made desperate calls for help. Bad enough, his distress calls attracted man-eating creatures living within the cave, who suddenly arrived and ruthlessly took his life. The recorded footage left the group in a state of profound shock and deep confusion. They couldn't fathom how Furby had spent days outside the cave while, for them, only 30 minutes had passed inside. Intriguing, right? Now, desperate to escape, the group acknowledged that Kara was the only fit and uninjured member. They assigned her the daunting task of free climbing her way out of the immense cave. Before leaving, Taylor handed her a beacon to alert the authorities once she obtained a signal. Despite the challenging struggle, Kara eventually succeeded in climbing out, but her astonishment grew as she beheld the transformation that had occurred outside. The once lush green forest had become an inhospitable barren wasteland, where ominous sandstorms loomed in the distance. The scarcity of oxygen in the atmosphere caused Kara to cough with fear. As she tried to get a signal on the beacon, she realized the passage of time had been warped drastically. She noticed an unidentified object resembling a spaceship floating in the distance. An indication that several and thousands of years had elapsed. Returning to the cave, she found her companions upset, as they believed she hadn't even attempted to escape. Kara then showed them the recorded footage from her camera, providing evidence of her journey outside. The video displayed the strange deserted world and massive sandstorms, corroborating her claim. Finally, the group stood in awe, facing the bewildering reality of the time discrepancy between the inside and outside of the cave. Taylor concludes that due to some unknown cause, time inside the cave is moving slower. Every time the sun flickers, it indicates that one day has passed. Finally, the group understands this, realizing that the constant cutting of ropes occurred because of the rope's fragility caused by years of friction. Vives, after hearing all this, decides to re-watch Furby's footage and makes a shocking discovery. The sky in the frames changes color, with a dark sky representing winter and a light one representing summer. This implies that every second inside the cave is not a day outside, but an entire year. The revelation terrifies the group, intensifying their desperation to escape. Once Kara regains her energy, she makes another attempt to leave the cave. Suddenly, a very tall ladder appears out of nowhere, and a giant alien-like figure starts descending. Everyone retreats in fear as the alien reaches the cave. A fierce battle ensues between the alien and a barbaric man-eater. Despite a struggle, the giant alien manages to subdue and restrain the man-eater using a sophisticated electronic device. He then turns his attention to the group, and they flee in fear. After some time, Taylor and the gang arrive at a mysterious location where this evil man-eaters are feasting upon their prey. The man-eaters become aware of the humans' presence and relentlessly pursue them. Taylor, in order to afford others an opportunity to escape, decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and confronts the man-eaters all by himself. As we would soon see from the movie, he was no match to their strength. The man-eaters ruthlessly end his life, then they depart to pursue the others. Kara manages to sneak inside and is heartbroken to find Taylor lying lifeless. She weeps in despair as the colossal alien approaches them and drags Taylor towards a small pool, seemingly called the Fountain of Youth. Astonishingly, Taylor came less than back to life, validating the once ridiculed myth of its existence. However, before the group can celebrate, the man-eaters return, launching a fresh attack on the giant. This time, they outnumber him and even manage to remove his helmet, leaving him gasping for air. Fortunately, Kara and Taylor step in to assist the giant and eventually trap the man-eaters using their equipment. After the intense struggle, the group tries to help the giant stand, but their efforts are in vain. It becomes evident that Earth's atmosphere is poisonous to him, causing his internal organs to fail. As the giant draws near to his final moments, he displays a news report from the outside world dating back to thousands of years ago about the group's disappearance. The alien further showed them various other clips as evidence that the living conditions on Earth have deteriorated to the point that no one is living on Earth any longer. Consequently, humans have departed for a different planet using a specialized spaceship known as the Ark. Remember, Kara had previously seen this very spacecraft? As Taylor continues his search for clues in the cave, he stumbles upon Professor Hopper, who lies injured on the ground. However, the next sight leaves Taylor utterly astounded. Before him, multiple layers of time unfold, each progressing at an even slower rate than the previous one. In the initial layer, Hopper's parents are frozen in time, while in deeper layers, prehistoric men are engaged in a fierce battle over the Fountain of Youth stream inside this cave. Now, the entire cave system has been intricately designed to prevent humans and other creatures from accessing the Fountain of Youth. Despite Taylor's efforts to bring Professor Hopper back to safety, Hopper insists on staying there. Later, when Taylor returns to his group and places the deceased Furby into the fountain, Jackie also uses the fountain to heal her injured leg. However, as they prepare to leave, they are once again surrounded by barbarians with no escape route. In a desperate attempt to get out, the group decides to use an advanced ladder from an alien source. Kara volunteers to go first, but upon reaching the zenith of this ladder, Kara discovers the entrance has been filled with water. Suddenly, a creature grabbed her up, leaving the rest of the group horrified at the turn of event. As it stands, Taylor and rest of the crew soon find themselves in a serious dilemma. If they ascend this ladder, what just happened to Kara might be their fate, and if they retreat, the barbarians will surely kill them. After a brief moment, a fully transformed Kara returns to the cave, using advanced technology to pull everyone up with a high-tech rope. Later, she successfully rescues Furby, Professor Hopper, and his parents as well. Surprisingly, the creatures that initially pulled Kara are revealed to be evolved human beings, adapting to the changes of time. Despite Kara's seemingly short time inside the cave, she lived for several years outside. In the final scene, the group is taken to the Ark, set on a course to seek a new planet for habitation. The Ark is under the control of evolved creatures who communicate in an entirely different language. The movie concludes as the spaceship launches into space, bidding farewell to the blue planet forever. If you like this video, kindly leave a like and subscribe, and please enable notifications. Thanks for sticking with us.